Welcome to Hornets Sports Buzz, episode number 14. Tonight we're going to talk about wrestling. Joined by my far left coach, Mark DeSanto, Jaden Curley, captain, and George Galapagos, captain. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
As usual, we're going to give a quick standings update. It's Thursday, January 25th. As of today, the boys and girls track team are both undefeated at 4-0. The gymnastics team is also 4-0. The wrestling team is 16-6. Does that sound right?
Yep, 16.
As of tonight. The boys and girls hoop team, boys are 10-2 and the girls are 8-3. Boys hockey 11-2-1. Girls hockey 5-4-2. Boys swimming got their first win. All right, so they're off the schneid. They're 1-5 and the girls swimming is 0-6 combined. 63 wins, 28 losses, 3 ties for a 68 winning percentage, which is very good. So I was going to ask a trivia question, but I won't. So obviously, you know, the team with the most wins is the wrestling program. So congrats, guys.
Thank you.
And welcome again. Just talk about that a little bit. I think, and Coach, you know, some of these questions I'll address to you. Some of you, whoever wants to answer. But it's not strictly dual meets, right? You guys do tournaments. You do quad meets, tri meets.
Yep. So right now our dual meet tournament record is 16-6. So when we wrestle on a Saturday, we wrestle a quad or a super quad. We're wrestling 4 dual meets that day. Mm-hmm. We've wrestled 2 tournaments this year. Both we finished 3rd place. One was the Marshfield Holiday Tournament and the Canton Peckham Tournament. We had 4 champs each tournament, but the Marshfield one was the big one. So that was a good one.
That's a pretty prestigious tournament, right?
Yeah.
You guys been doing that all 4 years?
Yeah.
I didn't participate my freshman year, but I have since.
That's great.
We've been doing that since probably like 2001.
Yeah. I know. What's the difference between a quad match and a super quad? Is there much difference?
Just a difference of teams, maybe. So a quad is 4 teams. We wrestled 3 dual meets that day. Super quad could be 5, 6 teams, and we wrestled a max of 4 teams that day.
Okay. So we're gonna back up a little. We're gonna talk about you guys. First of all, congratulations on being captains.
Thank you.
And my understanding, there's 32 kids in the program, and there's 9 seniors out of 32. So my math is a little bit more than 25%. So just 2 captains.
Yes.
So congratulations. I ask, everybody comes on the show, how did you guys get to be picked to be captain? George.
I think ever since we were freshmen, we kind of had to take a leadership role. I feel like we've had a little more experience coming into the program as freshmen. So even the older kids with a little less experience, we were able to help them out a little bit. So I feel like it was kind of coming for us to end up being captains as seniors. But we're very humble. It was a very prestigious thing for us, definitely.
It is. And I'm going to ask Coach, but do you usually have 2 captains or sometimes 3? Sometimes?
It really depends on the year. Like the last few years, we've been short on seniors, and like these guys have stepped up to be leaders on the team. I think last year we had 1 captain, just the 1 senior, and then we had a couple seniors, but only 1 captain. The year before was a junior and a senior. It was just the way it works. Sometimes next year we might have 3 or 4 captains, depending on that year.
Mm-hmm. And Jaden, what about you? Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm guessing it's the team that votes, or does Coach pick you, or is it a combination?
The team votes, but Mark obviously, he's the last choice.
Yeah, that's good. And tell us some about your off season. On the mat, you guys are leaders. We're going to talk about your individual records, even though we focus on the team. But what about off season? Not the training, but what do you guys do like off the mat, either during season or before season, to kind of help the younger kids, or even help your fellow seniors? Prepare and kind of raise money, or any of that type. Either one of you, if you want to.
Well, to raise money, we did a fundraiser with Mark. We did the Monster Jam events, the monster truck shows. We hawked popcorn and stuff like that.
My son did that. Yeah. You can raise a lot of money.
Yeah, we raised a good amount of money.
Definitely did a good job.
Concessions gets us money too, but to prepare for wrestling, we held captain's practices like once a week during the summer. We're always encouraging kids to go to clubs during the off season to get more work in with different people.
That's good. And can you open up the Mansfield High gym during the summer or the fall to captain's practice, or?
Not as much the gym, but
you don't have the key to the gym?
No. So our room is in the middle school anyway, so it's kind of tough to get in there in the summer. But we can get in the weight room a little bit, and there's a lot of club programs around our area where we'll encourage kids. We can give them rides if they need it. Some of them are free, some of them you have to pay. So there's a lot of clubs in our area where you can get mat time in like all the time during the summer. So.
And again, wrestling's pretty new to me, or very new to me. Like, isn't Franklin, don't they have a club?
Yes, they do New England Gold. It's right in Franklin.
And is their varsity head coach, what's his name?
Carmen
Carmen.
Kalachi.
Yeah, he runs it. And
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. So, do you guys have club teams, or in the off season is it mostly individual? Like,
People go where they want.
Yeah.
Me and George spent a lot of time in New England Gold wrestling with those Franklin kids. There's a good club in Brown that if you guys go to, American Grit. There's places all over the state that we have kids that go to.
Coach, so backing up to you, you're obviously a young guy.
Thanks.
Joe Russo has a lot of young coaches, but tell us about your background, like your youth or kind of high school, and did you wrestle, college, and how you got into Mansfield High?
Well,
wrestling?
I never did youth. We didn't really have a good youth program at that time. I would say nowadays youth and club wrestling is much more. It's much bigger now than it was back then. So I never stepped foot on a mat until freshman year, first day of practice. I was like kind of basically dragged and made to come up for the team, and from there, I wrestled 4 years varsity at Mansfield. Graduated 05. I was a state champion, wrestled in all states, New England, all that. I went to Norwich for years, and I wrestled a year there. Gained a lot of experience doing that. And then ever since that, I was always in the room helping. And I got the opportunity to be the coach 6 years ago, and I kind of ran with it.
That's great. And usually when I say the sentence "gained a lot of," usually fill it in with weight when it talks to me, but gained a lot of experience. That's good to know.
I gained a lot of weight too.
So it kind of makes me say, I'm guessing you might have wrestled at a lower weight class?
I was 112 pounds, yeah.
Okay. Can either one of you or both talk about, because the audience, I think, is, we have a huge audience, thousands of followers, but can you tell us, like, for the matches, say the dual meets, what are the weight classes? Where do they start? And
So it goes 106, 113, 126, 132, 138.
Skipped 120.
Oh, sorry.
that's good.
Skip 120. 138, 145, 152, 160, 170, 185.
182.
182.
You don't know the
Oh.
weight classes?
No, I don't.
We're going to ask Jaden some tough questions. Go ahead. Keep going.
195, 220, and heavyweight, which goes all the way up to 285.
So if you're 286, you can't.
Yeah, you have to
Yes,
count that
yep.
pound.
So it sounds, is that like 12 or 13 weight classes? Or
14.
14, okay. And I asked them off air, Jaden, let me see if I get this right. Right now, you wrestle at 170.
Yes.
And George, you wrestle at 160.
Yep.
And you guys obviously very fit. And since sophomore year, you've jumped up 1 or 2 weight classes, either one of you?
I started freshman year at 145, and then I went 152 sophomore and junior year, and this year I'm 160, and Jaden's always been one above me since freshman year.
So he's afraid to lose to you, and do you guys wrestle against each other in practice? Or I'm thinking you're probably two of the leaders, two of the better wrestlers, even though you have a lot. You guys.
Yeah,
work on it?
we've been drill partners since we were younger, even younger than high school.
Yeah.
We've been wrestling together for a long time, and
Yeah.
it's for the better.
Yeah, and again, it's all in the mood. It's like football. Like, there's a limited amount of times football players can practice in their pads. Like, there's a fine line in practice. You're working out, you're training, but there's a line you probably don't cross in practice. Am I right? Or am I wrong?
Well,
Go ahead.
You can plead the fifth. It's okay.
It depends on the practice. Usually we'll take it like a little bit lighter the day before a meet just not to tire out. But other than that, we're usually going pretty hard and pushing a fast pace during practices.
All right, since we're talking about weight classes, again, this is a guess. I think from what I've read, and we're going to talk about the Franklin meet. I call it the F word on the show, Franklin.
Oh, yeah.
You guys won, which is great.
Right.
I think in every sport, Franklin's a huge rivalry because we had Coach Vaughn on last week. But how does it determine, and my guess is a coin flip to say where you start, which weight class?
but
that's just a guess.
that's close.
Okay.
So normally we just start at 106, the first weight class. I forget when it changed, but now we can say that if we want. Say, hey, do you want to start at 106? But if not, the rules is we have every weight class on like a little card, put it in a hat, pull it out of a hat, and whatever weight class it is, we'll start at that one.
Okay, and so you usually talk with the opponent coach
Yeah,
beforehand? That's good.
Usually it's very friendly, but we can decide if we want to start at 106 or pull from the hat.
All right, and I like to talk about the losses first. No, we're not really going to talk about it, but tell me, 6 losses, St. John's Prep. We like to fact check on the show. St. John's Prep, Haverhill, Melrose, Methuen, BC High, and Winchester. Does that
Yes.
sound right?
Yep.
And they were all probably those quad meets, right? Or
Uh,
not the same meet, but
The St. John's Prep came to Mansfield on a Wednesday,
yeah,
and the rest were at quads, yeah.
yeah. And I'm thinking, well, it's funny. They're all pretty much on the North Shore, like BC High, and you know,
Yeah.
it's
And they're
kind of
mostly D1 teams, too. So.
yeah. So do you? And I know Coach Vaughn and Coach Redding and some of the other coaches have. You have the mantra like we want to wrestle anyone, anywhere, because to get you ready for, what's it called, sectionals and.
Yeah.
Sectionals,
Is that your
states,
theory?
all states.
Would you? Or would you like to say I want to wrestle somebody easy? Because
No, absolutely not.
No.
I think that getting hard matches in season is the best way to prepare yourself for the postseason, because those are the guys you're going to be seeing in the postseason. So,
And I think Mark definitely packed a schedule with some tough teams this year, working out some good matches just so we can get better competition and prepare ourselves for the postseason.
that's great. And then I didn't. I get all my information. I always look at hawksports.com.
Right.
You guys look at that, right?
Yeah.
By the way, segue. You won Athlete of the Week.
yeah. yes,
That
I did.
deserves a handshake. That's impressive.
Thank you.
I didn't give a shout out on my show, but that's for all of you who don't know. Every week, Hawk Sports picks a athlete of the week between the 12 Hockomock schools, 5 sports in the season, and then boys and girls. So that's like you got like a very small chance of winning it. And congratulations.
Thank
Was
you.
that week any particular thing you did special, or just typical?
Was that after Marshfield?
That was after Marshfield.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you win that tournament?
I did. Yes.
That's great.
Thank you.
George
good.
did as well.
He
That's
did.
good.
Yes.
That's good. So let's talk about your individual records, if you don't mind. Do you know them off the top of your head?
Do you know it all?
I
have one
How many?
loss.
One loss.
I have one loss too.
That's impressive. Do you know exactly who the kid is that beat you?
I know exactly who that
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. You've
There
been-
were certain circumstances of both matches that could have went either way. So.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So let's talk, if you don't mind, the Franklin. Would you want to call it a match or a meet? What do you want to call it?
That's a match.
All right, the Franklin match. I believe the score. We don't want to give it away, but 30-27, Mansfield.
Yep.
Did you guys both win your matches?
Yes.
All right. And that match, did you guys? Was there a particular weight class, or did you have a particular strategy, coach?
Yeah, we definitely had a plan going in. They're very good down low in the lower weight classes, and we're very good in the middle weight classes. So we had to maneuver our lineup a little bit. So from 152, we put in a very good backup, and then George bumped George's brother up to 160. George went 170, and Jaden went up to 182. And our 182 pounder went up to, he actually wrestled 220. So we did a lot of maneuvering. It was a pretty big strategy, and as we know, it paid off. So
Yeah. So the coach has to get all the credit then if it's.
I wish.
He deserves
I'm
a
not
lot
doing
of
it on the
credit.
mat. So.
Let's say that again, Jade.
I said he deserves a lot of credit.
No, I absolutely. So it is exciting, and so obviously there's a lot of strategy in that meet, and so the weight class again. This is all new to me. So if you're wrestling at say 160, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be 160 or under, or
Yeah. So we
tell
weigh-
us about how the weigh-in works.
Okay, so we weigh in the morning. You have to make that, we call it scratch weight, which is, so I have to make 160 in the morning. And actually halfway through the year, they add 2 pounds to the weight because they figure kids are adding on weight throughout the season. So I have to make 162 in the morning. And then if I make it in the morning, you get a 3-pound allowance throughout the day. And you have to make so I'd have to make 165 by the time the meet starts. And you can bump up 1 weight class per meet.
Per meet, okay. So if last week you were 154,
Mm-hmm.
you can't go to 170.
You just go up 1 weight class. So
Yeah.
if George is wrestling at 160, I can move him to 170,
Mhm.
but he couldn't go to 182.
Mm-hmm. So, and again, sometimes the minutia isn't important. But I think in wrestling, tell me if I'm wrong, it is because like, the scale, like, is it your home scale or is it when you weigh yourself in the morning?
It's
Because my
our
scale
team
always
scale.
tells me I weigh 10 pounds more.
No, it's our team scale.
Okay.
It's a very expensive scale. So
Okay. So when you go to school, you go and weigh in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark handles the scale, and just weigh yourselves in on that in the
Yeah.
morning.
So again, I'm going to draw parallels to golf. It's the honor system too, because
essentially, yeah.
I mean, because maybe 1 or 2 pounds probably doesn't make a difference, but if it's 5 or 6, and you guys are,
Yeah.
especially in the middle, any weight class, or even the lighter weight class, the difference between a 106 kid and a 110.
Oh yeah,
make a difference.
It's a big difference, and it is honor system, but you still have to make the 3-pound allowance at night, so it still keeps it within that range. And most, I would say, 95 to 99% of coaches are very trustworthy.
So back to the Franklin match, tell me if I'm wrong, because I get all my information from reading the paper, but the match went back and forth, right? I think they probably had a lead after the early weight classes, but
Yes.
tell us about the last match, because I read in the paper. Tell us what the score is and who was wrestling.
So yeah, like you said, it was very back and forth. We kind of expected that going into it because, like we said, we're very good in the middle weights and they're very good in the lighter weights. So what was the score going into the last meet?
We were up by 6.
30 to 24.
Right, so we were up by 6. So if our kid got pinned at heavyweight, the match would have been tied because that's 16 points. So we were really, it didn't really matter at that point if he lost the match. We were hoping, obviously, that he won, but it didn't really matter if he lost the match. We just didn't really want him to get pinned. So, I mean, he's a first-year wrestler. He was on the team last year.
Who is he?
Sorry, Noah Jelinek.
Yeah, okay, good. We gotta give him a shout out.
Noah
Yeah.
Jelinek, yeah.
Noah
Is he
Jelinek,
senior
yeah.
or junior?
Junior.
Junior, wow, okay.
He was on the team last year as our manager because he tore his ACL.
Oh, yeah.
But this is his first year wrestling. So going into that match, we really were gunning for him not to get pinned, and he went to his back one time and got off real quick, which was got the crowd very excited. It was a huge win for us. So
You guys are home?
yeah.
We're on.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, that was a huge moment for us and very big victory for him as well.
That's great. That's great. And do you remember either Jaden? You guys have been wrestling for. When's the last time you beat Franklin?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Probably when I was in high school in 04, 05.
Yeah.
They've just had that good of a team. It's
Yeah.
been they've won the Hawk the last 3 years too, since North moved to the other side. So they've always had a very good program.
That's great. And tell me if I'm wrong. North Attleboro, you don't wrestle this year. Oh, you do.
No, we did.
Okay.
We wrestled them just in a meet that I set up,
Okay.
and then we actually wrestled them on Saturday again.
So since they weren't one of the losses, you beat North.
We did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was that close? I didn't.
They're a very tough team.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
So
score-
what a diplomatic answer.
They're very, very tough. They're a little young this
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
But no, we handled them
That's
pretty
good.
easily.
That's good. I like to segue. So, I think you have 4 more matches. Does the smaller, the Davenport division, Jaden, are you guys wrestling them the next week or so?
Saturday.
Yeah, we're wrestling some of them on Saturday. We're wrestling Milford and North Attleboro.
Okay.
Sharon.
And Sharon's in the Davenport?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're wrestling 3 Davenport teams on Saturday.
And as a team, and again, these are a lot of ignorant questions, but wrestling is an individual sport, but it's also a team. How does the postseason work? Like, first of all, do you have a Hockomock League meet?
We used to, but
Okay.
they eliminated the Hockomock tournament. I don't know the specifics, but
All right.
it doesn't go on anymore.
And then how do you, either you or George, how do you qualify? I assume the teams already qualify for the postseason. Or is it all done in individual?
It's done individually.
Okay.
So you send 14 starters. It doesn't have to be someone who started all year. It's just usually we do wrestle-offs. So we do matches in practice to see who goes to the postseason. And so you send 14 wrestlers, 1 from every weight class, and depending on where you place, you can advance all the way to New England's.
So sectionals, divisionals, all-state?
And then New England. Yep.
That's impressive. That's a lot of wrestling. How did you guys do individually last year in that postseason tournament?
I won sectionals last year and ended up going 1 and 2 at states, so I lost out of the tournament.
And these are all really good wrestlers,
Yeah.
needless to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, we're in Division 1, and Division 1's very, very tough.
Yeah. And how'd you do?
I won sectionals. I took a tough loss at the divisional semifinals, but I got 3rd. Then I moved on to all states. I had a very good tournament. I got 4th place. And then at New England's, I went 0-2, but I had 2 very close matches.
That's great. That's great. And I'm thinking you guys are burnt out by the end of wrestling season.
Well, the plan this year is to not get burnt out. Obviously, we all get tired, but if we really love the sport, so we're not going to get burnt out.
That's good. That's good.
I mean, we wrestle like almost every day during the off season too, so it's almost like it's like a routine for us. So we're grinding like a lot harder during the season, but it's kind of like a second nature to us just being on the mat. So I mean, we get a little tired by the end of the year, but we're in pretty good shape for the most part for the season.
So a lot of good segues here. One thing I ask you guys and Coach, we talked off air about there's a middle school program, but it's not officially through Mansfield QMS.
No.
And did you guys start wrestling in middle school or even before?
I started wrestling when I was 8 years old. I kind of worked through youth program and through a couple of different clubs, but our youth coach, Lou Savastos, he was a really he has been there for us all through youth and definitely carried the program. Very good leadership skills, but yeah, we've been working with him ever since we were young, and between club teams and the youth, our youth program really began to grow when we started to get more kids in it too. So.
And Jaden, what about yourself?
I started in the 6th grade, I believe. I was about 11 years old, and I loved it. I love Lou. He's a great coach. He still hangs out, comes around to the meets and stuff, and comes to practices sometimes.
He still runs it right now.
Yeah, he still runs the youth program.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Does he have a kid on the team?
He
Yep,
does.
Antonio Savastos.
And what year is he?
He's a junior.
Okay. So, and again, I was going to ask Coach, but again, I got to do my math here. About 3 years ago, you guys were 4-9. I don't know if that included. This is from Hawksports.com.
That's probably, it wasn't including everything. though.
Yeah, but 2 years ago, 17-9. It's a significant turnaround, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Last year, 19-6, and this year, whatever I said, 16-6 with 4 or 5 to go. So, your class has to, you guys, the seniors and your juniors, right, Coach? Would you say your strength is your juniors and seniors, or would you say all classes right now are really contributing?
I mean, they're definitely the leaders. I think for right now, at this part of the season, it's more of a team atmosphere and it's a team aspect on it that we try to live by. And later on, they'll carry us through the sectionals and states, but we try to do it as a whole team. And it's everyone. That Franklin match was from top to bottom. It was kids not getting pinned. Some were freshmen, some were sophomores. Kids getting pins like these guys, the seniors. So it's really, it's more of a family. We try to treat it as that. So
That's great. So we're going to try to trip up Jaden here because you've had all the weight classes. So again, this is for the people at home or like me. Can you describe the scoring system? I think I know a couple of things, but just say you're in a match at 160. How do you earn points or?
So in a match, the easiest way to explain it is a takedown. When you take someone to the mat, get behind them or whatever, it's 2 points.
Okay.
An escape is 1 point. A reversal is when there's a change from the person on bottom goes to top without an escape happening, so that's 2 points.
Okay.
So back points are kind of hard to explain. So if you turn someone over 90 degrees, they start counting back points. So once they get to 3 seconds, then they'll give 2 back points. And then if you get the extra 2 seconds, get 5 seconds of back points, that's 3 points.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know anything about back points.
Yeah.
it's
And then
tough,
penalty points are usually just 1 point.
All right. Did he leave anything out? I think he left a couple things out.
I feel like you got it for the most part.
There's team scoring
How about
too.
this?
Oh,
Right.
that's team score. So
That's a
Well,
oh, okay.
well,
so
it's a
all right.
pin, yeah.
Ignorant.
it
That's
is
a
a
pin.
pin.
Oh, so
Yeah,
you
pin
could-
a pin ends the match.
Okay.
Yes.
So you could accumulate, say, 15 to 18 points, but you're only going to accumulate 6 for pin. Is it 5 for a technical knockout? Technical.
tech fall.
A tech fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anything else? Oh, and
A
if-
major is 4 team points. So a decision is 3 team points, which
Okay.
is 7 or less points.
okay.
And then a major is from 8 to 14 points. And then 15 points is a tech, and that just ends a match.
At any point.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I know you know this, but 3 periods.
Yep.
And how long?
2 minutes each
Yeah.
period.
So, for the layperson, 6 minutes, you guys train a lot. The most your match is going to be 6. Come on, you don't have to be in good shape for that. That's, but it's 6 minutes of hell, right? It
Yeah.
could be.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's impressive. And do you guys, we didn't really talk about the off season. I know you wrestle all the time, but what, again, this is for the, the middle school and the younger. What other types of things do you do besides wrestle? I'm sure you eat well. But like, do you guys run, or what else do you guys do?
You can take this one.
I know during the off season, I try to get into the gym as much as possible. I know a lot of our guys lift weights and go on runs as much as possible. But I mean, wrestling is really the key to like a good off season training. That's where you're gonna get like more experience, better shape. Like most of the training will come in the room. So.
You agree?
Yeah, I feel like my biggest tool is my endurance, so I try to make sure that I'm always out there running and doing conditioning during the summer.
All right, so I'm going to put you both on the spot. Do you think wrestlers are the best athletes at Mansfield High? Remember, all your friends are watching this.
I think every athlete works hard.
Oh man, you're going to go into politics. No, yeah, like I said, my kid did it unsuccessfully in middle school. It's very hard, and a guy who wrestled in college said that probably the toughest thing you do in life is get on that mat by yourself, and so I give you guys a lot of credit. So postseason, post high school plans, academically or athletically, do you guys know what you're going to do next year, or you're trying to figure it out?
We're both planning on wrestling in college, and take it from there, wherever we end up going.
That's good. Are you guys separate? Are you going to go to the same school, or?
I don't think we're making any plans to stay together, but what happens, happens. You never know.
No, that's good. So, Coach, anything? Your assistant coaches. We've talked about Lou Savastos with the youth program.
Yep.
Tell us about your assistant coach or coaches. And
Yep. So Lou's there. He helps out a lot. Then there's Mike Paler. He works at the school. He's a freshman football coach as well. And then there's Eric Farley. Eric was actually the head coach before I was, and he had work got in the way, and he gave me the opportunity, and he coached me right through it, how to, take the lead and be the coach. So he's back now. His son's actually a freshman who's having a very good year as well. So he starts for us as well. So we all work together as a team, and we all go through practices together and try to get these kids ready.
do you ever wrestle with any of the kids?
From time to time, yeah. Still,
I wrestled with Mark today.
Yeah. We came from practice right to here.
That's good. We won't know. You won't have to tell us who won.
I would say I didn't lose. I would say I didn't win. So,
Well, Jaden the Diplomat's not going to.
he's in much better shape than I am. George
So
as well.
and you have a JV program too. Are there matches for every dual meet, or not necessarily?
So it's tough wrestling's different where we don't have a JV team.
Okay.
We have our varsity lineup, and sometimes we'll put some JV kids in there. And then before matches, we just essentially wrestle. We call them JV matches, but they're exhibition matches. So it's like you don't really have a team that's JV, but we just set up exhibitions.
Yeah, and you said 14 weight classes. Are there other? I'm sure these guys. I mean, no, not to brag, but you guys are kind of owning your weight class. But are there some weight classes, Coach, that are really close between 2 or 3 wrestlers? Like, against one team, you might wrestle this wrestler.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
we
kind of
have a
like
few of 'em,
you have
yeah.
to earn it, like Jaden said in practice, right?
Yep.
You might be strong at the beginning of the year, but by the end of the year, George is moving up, and so can your brother beat you? We didn't talk about CJ. He's a sophomore.
We go back and forth, but I'll usually take the lead on that. But
does he start in most of the matches?
yeah, he wrestles one weight class below one weight class below me.
Yeah.
So he's the 152.
And again, these are random. The scoring for the sectionals, is that scored as a team as well as individual?
Yes.
The same, scoring system?
Different. It's a whole different scoring system, and it's actually too complicated to really get into. But
yeah, our audience is very sophisticated. No, actually, they're not.
I would have to pull out the rule book and figure
yeah.
out the point system. But we actually won sectionals last year as a team. That was the first time ever.
That's great.
So we took that title home. So that
That's
was very exciting, and obviously this year with the Hawks. So
That's great. And then again, just a couple more questions. Just say a big tournament. How much time? If you just say you go all the way to the finals, is that 4 matches usually or 3? It depends.
It can be between 4 to 5. It depends on how long the tournament is. Some days you have 2-day tournaments.
How much time do you have between matches? That's where I was getting at, like in a big tournament.
Usually about an hour and a half.
Is that enough time to recover, or Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, usually in the off season, the tournaments will go like very quicker pace, but it depends all on like how many kids are in your bracket to see like how many matches you have in that day. So we're kind of used to like a fast pace between matches, but during the season, obviously there's so many teams at each tournament that it's a little bit longer of a wait time before matches. But
There's actually a rule. It's 45 minutes in between each wrestling. So sometimes there will be matches where there's some buys and it comes right up. But if it's before 45 minutes, then we'll have to push that around.
Okay, that's great. Just last question for both of you. And you might have said this, but what other sports do you play at Mansfield High now, or did you play, in middle school or youth? And do you encourage athletes and kids to do that, or? That's a two-part question.
I played football up until sophomore year.
Okay.
And I ended up just stopping playing football just to focus more on wrestling. I wouldn't discourage people from trying different sports. I think getting around to all different kinds of sports makes you more of an athlete, just to try out different games. But I think like once you get farther into high school, kind of like you have to start focusing on what you really wanted to do, unless you're like insane at all the sports you play. But yeah, I kind of just wanted to narrow down my focus on wrestling, so I ended up stopped playing football.
That's a great answer. I don't know if you could top that, Jaden. What about you?
Football and lacrosse were the main sports I played. I didn't play lacrosse in high school. I played 2 years of football, just like George.
Yeah.
And then I pulled out of the program to focus on wrestling. They have a very good program, obviously, but I wanted to focus more on wrestling because I wasn't too happy with how I did my freshman and sophomore year. And I think that wrestling is one of those sports where I do encourage, I think everyone should play more than one sport in their life, but if they want to focus on wrestling, I think wrestling is one of those sports that you get what you put into it. You don't really need to be given an opportunity. You go out and you can just get it if you want it.
No, that's great. And a follow-up, the guy that I know that wrestled in college, he said, let's just not say your easy matches, but when you get to the sectionals, divisionals, states, and New England's, your opponents are phenomenal. You guys are phenomenal. Are you thinking, would you just say on your back, are you thinking 2 moves ahead, or are you just trying to, what goes through your mind in the toughest matches, other than survival?
George?
I think,
or does your mind go blank?
I think sometimes it's a little thinking ahead. Sometimes it's a little muscle memory, just like getting used to all the moves that you're running. But I'm definitely I wrestle kind of more technical, where I'm definitely thinking a couple moves ahead. But like I said, a lot of it is muscle memory too. So I mean, when we get into the postseason, there's obviously a lot harder competition. Those kids are moving on because they're better, obviously. But you got to kind of watch matches before too, and realize what they do, and kind of prepare a game plan before every match. So
that's good. Are you more of a technical wrestler, Jaden, or?
I think I have pretty good technique, but I usually spend a lot of time overwhelming the person that I'm wrestling. I just try to, I'll do multiple things just to get one thing done. I think I like to catch a lot of my opponents slipping, lacking on the things that they're supposed to be doing.
That's great. So so my final question, and I think I know the answer. So I watch a lot of WWE. So this high school wrestling is fake, right? Just want to.
It's
That's
pretty
the
real.
real stuff. Ours is fake.
It's pretty real.
Again, so I'm very interested. We're gonna let you guys go, guys. Good luck. Thanks for coming on the show, George
Thank you.
Galapagos. I tried. Jaden Curley, and Coach Mark Sano. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you for
guys,
having us.
come down. I think. Are you guys home on Saturday, or what's your?
So we're away on Saturday. We're in Sharon, but the big one is Wednesday, the 30th. It's against King Philip. We've already clinched a share of the hot league title, and this is our chance to, if we win, we have our first ever league title all by ourselves. It's also senior night, so we're going to honor our 9 seniors with their parents, and it's going to be a big event. And come down.
What time at the gym?
Varsity starts at 7. The senior stuff will probably be about 6:45, and then we do some exhibitions at 6 o'clock.
That's good. And free admission?
Free admission.
That's good. All right, we'll be there Wednesday, January 30th. Come down to Mansfield High School and watch these guys wrestle. The last time, right, the divisionals are all not at Mansfield?
Yep.
Yeah.
So good luck, guys. And one promise, if you guys advance, maybe come back on the show, brag a
Okay,
little,
sure.
potentially?
Absolutely.
All right. All right, that's it for Hornets Sports Buzz. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Good night.